on it, you need to set the simulator into development mode. What that does essentially is allow you to deploy unsigned applications to the simulator or to the actual device. So it creates a sandbox on the side that can't access any of your secure data, just so you can test your applications. So to do that, you simply click into the options menu, and then in security, you just enable development mode. The password check here doesn't actually check for a password. It's just kind of it's just there right now. It will check eventually, just right now it doesn't. So you can literally put anything into that and set it to development mode. So from there, you need to actually get the Playbook's IP address so that you can deploy applications to it and attach the debugger or Flash Builder. I don't have Flash Builder 4.5. I have Flash Builder 4.0. So there's a couple of subtle differences in terms of how I'm going to be building applications, but the gist of it is more or less the same. So now that I have my simulator set up, I've got the application going. I'm just going to go into the debug profiles window and just fill out all of this stuff. So when you click browse here and select your project, it populates most of this for you. The two important parts to take a look at here is this packaging section. You want to make sure that sign is unchecked. And this is just because we're developing it, and well, two reasons. Right now, you can't actually get signing keys yet because we just don't have them. And the other reason is just because we're in development, so we don't need to sign it to deploy it over to a device. The other section is this deployment section at the bottom. In this text box, in the target text box, I want the IP address of my simulator. So I can get that from here, clicking on the hammer icon at the top. The debug host is usually populated for you, but that's just the IP address of the machine that you're developing on. So from there, you can click debug, and then it's just running through the command line tool in the background to get everything built. And then it sends it over to the simulator. Sometimes it takes a second or two to actually attach the debugger. So what this application is just essentially an RSS reader. Okay, so it's got two screens on it. One where I can actually save my feeds and create my feeds, and then also delete any of the feeds that I want. And this section here I just put in there so that you can see what types of device APIs are available to you to actually identify the device. The main screen, it actually goes up over the network, and this is live data, so hopefully there's nothing that matters on it. Not live demos, just work. Yeah, essentially, this is just an RSS reader. It's a pretty simple app, but it's I'm just gonna use it for demo purposes right now. So inside the actual action script, essentially all I did was create different methods of storing the data on the device. So we created an interface for a feed manager. And so what we're doing with the implementations here is either saving the data in a flat file on the device, or we're using the shared objects model, where you're saving the information essentially in an application cookie and in the device memory. Okay. Or you can save it inside the SQLite database that's on the device right now. So I'll just walk through the main code first, and then I'll step through the different types of saving data. So you can do things such as listening for different types of swipe events. So the swipe events that are on the device right now. So if you swipe from the left or the right towards the center, you can actually switch apps. So if I have multiple apps running at any given time, I can switch through them going from either this side or the right. To bring up the keyboard, you swipe from the bottom left corner up. that just pops up the keyboard, and you can also hide it with the button right there. And then to bring up the notifications and indicators, you swipe from the top left down towards the middle. So that'll bring up the notifications as well as the indicators menus on the right. On a real device, that'll contain things like your battery power and your Wi-Fi connectivity. And then to close an app, you actually swipe from the bottom up, and then you can either hit the red X in the corner or just swipe from the bottom up again. So the one swipe that isn't taken up by the system already is from the top menu down. And so we actually went ahead and gave the developer the ability to create a menu or to handle that swipe in any way that they needed to. So all you need to do is add an event to your application. ActionScript itself is completely an event-driven language. So all you're doing essentially is adding events to all of the various UI components on your screen to handle how your application is going to work. So really, we provide a lot of system events on top of the Air events that are already there. Things to monitor your battery level, things to handle the swipe. You can handle when the user just touches on the top bevel instead of swipes. All of this is essentially just drawing the UIs, which maybe goes back to the gentleman's question here, is for Flex 4.0, we had to redo some of the UI components. So those are actually found in the ActionScript documents inside the SDK folder. So you can take a look at those, but essentially it's any of the UI components that the user has to click on or interact with. So, toggle switches, text boxes, buttons, label buttons, basically all of those we have to rewrite. We try to make it as painless as possible, so all you need to do is change the namespace on the class inside your existing ActionScript. Yep.
With Flex